Marc Marquez is running out of time as the Jerez Grand Prix draws near. Music, injuries, mounting pressure, and a personal mission to prove himself, all while Aprilia continues its strong dominance. The clock is ticking loudly. While his competitors keep stacking up points and settling into a confident rhythm, Marc Marquez finds himself battling the toughest opponent he has ever faced, his own body and its lingering limitations. With the MotoGP round at Jerez scheduled for April 26, the star rider for the Ducati Lenovo team has reached a make-or-break phase in his season. Every single lap, every twinge of pain, and every strategic choice now carries the potential to shape the rest of his campaign. Music. During a recent private testing session at the Motorland Aragon karting circuit last Thursday, Marc Marquez opted to get back on track aboard a Ducati Panigale 5.2. His goal? To rebuild that lost racing instinct and feeling that had been disrupted by recent physical setbacks. Music. Yet footage from the track tells a story that cannot be ignored or hidden. Music. His right arm remains heavily wrapped in tight bandages, a stark reminder that the crash during FP1 at Austin was no minor bump. Sources close to the paddock reveal that Marquez is dealing with a deep hematoma in the arm area. Injuries of this nature are particularly dreaded by riders because they directly weaken braking power and the ability to withstand the intense forces experienced through high-speed corners. Music. In the ultra-competitive world of MotoGP, where aggressive braking from extreme velocities is the foundation of strong performance, even a small percentage loss in strength can translate into lost positions, or worse, an entire race slipping away. The 2026 season has not been kind to Marc Marquez so far. After the first 3 rounds, he trails the championship leader, Marco Bezzecchi, by 36 points. That gap is not yet insurmountable, but it is significant enough to weigh heavily on the mind. The only real highlight up to this point has been his sprint race victory in Brazil. Beyond that, Marquez has been fighting an uphill battle against a tricky mix of challenges. Incomplete adaptation to the Ducati, reduced aggression in the opening laps, and the surging form of Aprilia, which is currently riding a wave of excellent momentum. Music. This situation stands in sharp contrast to Marquez's historical reputation at Jerez. Over the years, this circuit has often served as one of his favorite hunting grounds, a place where he has repeatedly rediscovered his spark and turned things around. Music Jerez is more than just another track. It has frequently been the stage for his most memorable comebacks. Music. This time, however, the stakes and the obstacles feel profoundly different. It is no longer simply about raw speed. The real question is whether his body can handle the relentless demands and whether his champion's mindset can still compensate for the physical constraints he is carrying. Winning isn't just the goal anymore, it's the starting point, Marc Marquez remarked in one of his most recent interviews. Those words carry the weight of a new declaration from a rider who has clearly evolved through hardship. He no longer speaks of total, unquestioned supremacy. Instead, the focus has shifted to self-control and smart management. In the past, I felt invincible, but now I understand that the body has its limits. I need to recognize when to push forward aggressively and when to hold back and protect myself, he added. This honest admission highlights a major shift in his mental approach. Music. The serious injuries he suffered back in 2020 have fundamentally altered how Marc Marquez views racing and risk. Where he once embodied uncompromising, all-out aggression, his style today is more calculated and measured, though the fire and fighting spirit inside him have never dimmed. Even amid these physical and mental struggles, the wider world continues to celebrate his greatness. Marquez has earned a nomination for the prestigious Premio Slois Award thanks to his remarkable comeback story throughout the 2025 season. The ceremony, set to take place in Madrid on April 20, serves as a powerful reminder that regardless of the ups and downs in performance, his position as one of the most influential and iconic riders of the modern MotoGP era remains unchallenged. Still, the biggest question looming over everything is this: will Jerez mark a decisive turning point for the better, or will it simply underline the difficulties of this challenging season? If Marquez can deliver a strong, competitive showing and achieve a major result, it would provide an enormous boost not only to his own confidence, but also to the entire Ducati Lenovo team as they hunt for greater consistency. Music. On the flip side, if the injury issues continue to hold him back, the pressure heading into the middle part of the year will only intensify. One thing is certain though, writing Marc Marquez off as a title contender before the checkered flag has even waved would be a serious mistake. Time and again throughout his career, history has shown that the moments when doubt surrounds him are often exactly when he rises to the occasion and delivers something extraordinary. Music. A stark warning from Andrea Dovizioso goes far beyond simple talk of bike adaptation. Dovizioso has suggested that Marc Marquez is confronting serious physical problems hidden behind his recent dip in form. While many observers still believe Marquez's tough start to 2026 is mainly a matter of getting used to the new motorcycle or fine-tuning the setup, Dovizioso's latest comments land like a wake-up call that shifts the entire conversation. According to the former rider, this is not primarily about the machine or race strategy. It runs deeper, it is about the body, and the limitations may even be long-term. Music. The reality, he insists, is far more concerning than it appears on the surface. Dovizioso is no casual commentator. He was a direct rival to Marquez during the peak years of MotoGP and possesses an intimate understanding of the champion's riding style, psychology, and physical boundaries. When someone with that level of insight speaks, the paddock pays close attention. Marc is not the type of rider who likes to complain, Dovizioso noted, but in my view, his situation is much more serious than it looks. The statement is straightforward, yet its implications are profound. This is not idle media speculation, it is an informed assessment from someone who knows exactly how Marquez operates on a motorcycle and how skillfully he has always masked his pain. Marquez has openly admitted to struggling and feeling discomfort, but according to Dovizioso, that is only scratching the surface. In private team footage and conversations, Marquez himself has already dropped hints. He has acknowledged feeling uneasy and even suffering during races, particularly in the critical early stages. Those first 3 laps, which usually lay the groundwork for a strong result, have become especially difficult. The bike is demanding, but I am also suffering. I cannot ride it the way I want to, Marquez explained. At first glance, such comments might seem like typical talk of bike adaptation. Music. However, Dovizioso reads between the lines and sees something more fundamental, genuine physical restrictions that go beyond mere setup or feeling. At the root of it all, he points to the unresolved effects of older injuries. Attention turns especially to the incident at Mandalika last season, the crash involving Marco Bezzecchi that forced Marquez to miss the final part of the year. According to Dovizioso, that injury has not fully healed and may have left lasting consequences. He still needs to make significant improvements in his physical condition, and the crash in Indonesia may have added even more limitations to his arm, he observed. Dovizioso then delivered his most pointed remark yet. I believe there is no real solution for it. Those words change the narrative completely. If accurate, this is no temporary slump. It represents a new boundary in Marquez's legendary career. To support his analysis, Dovizioso highlighted one particularly telling performance, the race at the Circuit of the Americas. Marquez has long been a dominant force there, practically a living legend with years of unmatched control at the track. Yet in 2026, he could only manage a 5th-place finish. Austin was the definitive confirmation, Dovizioso stated. At a circuit where he should have been able to make a real difference, he simply couldn't. This was not just another mediocre result. It was a major anomaly in a place where anomalies rarely happen without a deeper cause. The ripple effects are clear, and they are creating a golden opportunity for Aprilia. When one giant begins to falter, others rise to fill the void, and right now, the momentum belongs firmly to the Aprilia squad. Dovizioso openly acknowledges the strong chance for the Noale-based team, driven especially by Marco Bezzecchi's outstanding early season performances. What stands out most is not only the results, but Bezzecchi's mindset and composure. You can see it in his eyes. He remains exactly the same as he was at the end of last season, focused, calm, and incredibly sharp. In the longer races, not just the sprints, Bezzecchi has displayed remarkable consistency, endurance, and precise control, the exact combination that usually signals a future world champion. This leaves Ducati caught between 2 difficult realities. On one hand, they must close the performance gap that Aprilia has opened. On the other, they must confront the fact that their flagship rider is not yet operating at full capacity. It is more than a technical issue, it is a dual crisis involving both machine and rider. If Dovizioso's reading proves correct, the 2026 season could become one of the most demanding chapters in Marc Marquez's entire career. Not because the rivals are faster or the bike inferior, but because his own body has become the hardest adversary to overcome. Music. And in a sport as unforgiving as MotoGP, that is the most difficult enemy of all. Marc Marquez once again demonstrated his class at the Circuit of the Americas. This time, however, the spotlight was not on a victory but on a pivotal moment that altered the entire weekend. The main MotoGP race in Austin had all the ingredients to become a stage for Marquez's dominance. His speed, rhythm, and attacking intent from the very beginning of the weekend looked extremely promising. Music. Yet everything shifted because of an unavoidable long lap penalty. The incident originated in the sprint race when Fabio Di Giannantonio crashed after Marquez's bike experienced a low side slide during an aggressive maneuver. Race stewards subsequently handed Marquez a long lap penalty to serve in the main Grand Prix. That decision did not only affect his starting prospects, it forced him to completely rethink his race strategy on the fly. Starting from 6th on the grid for the main event, Marquez initially showed strong potential to fight at the front. However, on lap 4, while serving the long lap penalty, he lost numerous positions. From contending at the sharp end, he suddenly found himself dropped back to 11th place, more than 5 seconds adrift of the leader at that moment, Marco Bezzecchi. In a technically demanding circuit like Austin, where consistency is everything, losing 5 seconds is not just a number, it is a massive gulf separating potential victory from a mid-pack finish. What followed, though, only reinforced the quality of Marc Marquez. With fierce determination, he launched an impressive recovery ride, lap after lap. Clean, calculated overtakes allowed him to claw his way back through the field. His trademark, aggressive yet controlled riding style re-emerged, as if he were determined to make up for the time lost to the penalty. By the time he crossed the finish line, Marquez had fought his way back to 5th place. It was a result that highlighted his extraordinary resilience on one hand, while on the other, it still felt like a missed opportunity. Music. An insightful perspective came from his younger brother and on-track rival Alex Marquez, who rides for Gresini Racing. Alex assessed that without the penalty, his brother's chances of winning would have been wide open. His speed was there, and his rhythm was really strong. "I think Marc could definitely have fought for the victory," Alex stated. At the same time, he remained honest. The incident with Di Giannantonio did warrant a penalty. Alex's comments reflect a balanced and realistic viewpoint. He praised his brother's outstanding performance while acknowledging the consequences of that aggressive move. Here lies the classic dilemma in MotoGP, the razor-thin line between the aggression that wins races and the risks that lead to punishment. Marquez, widely regarded as one of the boldest riders in modern MotoGP history, once again found himself on the wrong side of that line. The Austin weekend served as an important lesson. Success is not only about pure speed, but also about managing risk intelligently in every duel. In a championship as fiercely contested as MotoGP 2026, even a small error can have outsized consequences on the final standings. Despite finishing only 5th, Marquez's display still sent a clear message to his rivals. He remains a genuine threat in every race thanks to his rare ability to recover from setbacks. If he can minimize mistakes and handle his aggression with even greater precision, the next victory may be just around the corner. Marco Rigamonti could hardly contain his amazement at the incredible data coming from Marc Marquez. Picture this. A rider had just suffered a heavy crash in one of the most technical corners. The motorcycle was damaged, the rhythm disrupted, yet only a few hours later, he returned to the track and set the fastest time by a margin that left everyone stunned. This was more than just a lap time, it was a powerful statement. And at the 2026 United States MotoGP, that rider was once again Marc Marquez. The early sessions at Circuit of the Americas did not start smoothly for the Ducati star. In free practice 1, he crashed at turn 10, a section that demands exceptional precision in braking and direction changes. The incident raised immediate questions about whether his rhythm would be affected or if his confidence might take a hit. But as has happened so many times in his career, Marquez responded in true Marquez fashion. He got up and fought back harder. Despite the fresh crash, he still secured 4th place in FP1, trailing the surprise pacesetter Pedro Acosta on KTM by just 0.378 seconds. It was an early sign that even on a difficult day, he stayed firmly in the leading group. The real surprise, however, came in the later practice sessions. While rivals were gradually finding their best rhythm, Marquez pushed beyond what seemed logically possible. He recorded a blistering 2:927 comfortably, the fastest time of the day, and a strong signal that he is far from finished and may only be getting started. Behind this extraordinary performance, a key figure in the Ducati garage, Marco Rigamonti, openly expressed his astonishment. The usually calm and analytical crew member admitted that the data produced by Marquez was simply extraordinary and difficult to put into words. The numbers are crazy hard to explain. Normally after a crash, riders need time to build back up to their maximum, but Marc went straight beyond it, Rigamonti said with clear admiration. The telemetry backed this up. Marquez showed extreme consistency in the technical sectors, especially in heavy braking zones and acceleration out of slow corners. He maintained a higher minimum speed than his rivals without sacrificing motorcycle stability, a rare and elite combination even at the highest level. Even more impressive was how his signature aggressive style now appears more mature. It is no longer purely instinctive but combined with precise, calculated control. This evolution stems from years of hard-earned experience and his growing harmony with the Ducati machinery. No wonder Circuit of the Americas continues to feel like a second home for Marquez. The track's demanding mix of fast and slow corners seems almost tailor-made for his riding strengths. Yet this particular performance carried a slightly different story. It was not mere dominance, it was evolution. Marquez was not only fast, he was efficient, consistent, and technically operating at a level that surprised even his own team. This sends a clear warning to every rival. If a Marc Marquez who has just crashed can immediately set the fastest time with such a significant margin, imagine how quickly he can fly when everything aligns perfectly. The Austin weekend had only just begun, but one thing was already obvious. Marc Marquez had not come merely to compete. He had come to dictate the flow of the game. Get inside your head.